Yes guys, it's your boy Cam, CTB, Cam Talks Boxing, back with another video. David Benavidez, the Mexico monster, put out a dominant performance this past weekend, destroying Demetrius Andrade inside 6 rounds. Is Benavidez and Canelo finally going to meet in 2024? Let's talk about it. Yes guys, let's go straight into it. David Benavidez is now 28-0 with 24 knockouts. He's one of the most exciting fighters in the world. He's destructive, he's relentless, he's got fast hands, he's a combination puncher. He goes toe to toe, he comes forward. He's never in a boring fight. He's got a good defense as well, you know. He's got a great guard. His guard's rarely broken. You saw Caleb Plant as well. When you rewatch that fight, you saw that a lot of the punches weren't landing because he's got such a tight guard. It's hard to break his guard, and that is what I saw in this fight as well. Demetrius Andrade, he got destroyed inside 6 rounds, absolutely bullied. He started well, boxing nicely, you know, in the southpaw stance, unorthodox, you know, landing great body punches and mixing it up with, you know, body and head combinations, going upstairs and downstairs. Especially towards the end of the rounds, he would come up with flurries in spurts, but a lot of the punches, Benavidez too big, too strong. He was just walking through them, and that was similar in the Caleb Plant fight. A lot of the punches were just landing on the gloves, you know. So Benavidez, look, you can see he's a bit of a slow starter. But even it's harsh in the Andrade fight. It was only 2 rounds. He's literally feeling him out, and once he got into his rhythm, he was absolutely dominant. I don't know what words to say. He bullied Andrade. That was an absolutely scintillating performance by David Benavidez. He's not even in his prime yet. He's probably just moving into his prime in the next year or so, and. Look, what do I make of the fight? Like I said, Andrade started off sharp. A lot of people had him 3 up, but then David Benavidez in the 4th and 5th just turned it up, went into 3rd, 4th, 5th gear, and just absolutely destroyed him. Simple as that. Andrade told his corner to stop it. He bit it down on his gum shield, and he weren't showing any quit. He was still fighting. You know, he was holding. I don't know how he took some of those punches. He stood up. He fought it out. But obviously, when it got to the corner just before the 7th round, he told him to stop it. He had enough. Obviously, we don't know how he felt in there, but he was getting destroyed. You know, look at his face. His eye was busted, and he got humbled. You know, he was quite humble anyway, but he got hurt badly, and he was quite humble in his post-fight speech, as was David Benavidez. But look, David Benavidez, for me, this was just a 10 out of 10 performance against an undefeated fighter who's so avoided. And just as for Andrade for a sec, it's a tough one. He's 35 years of age, and look, that's what you get when you don't fight the top competition. His resume was poor, and David Benavidez, look at his resume now. You know, he's beat Anthony Durow in the past years ago to win the super middleweight title. He's a 2-time super middleweight world champion. He's an interim world champion right now. His recent wins, he's got David Lemieux, Caleb Plant, Demetrius Andrade. You know, he's building a great resume at 168 pounds. And look, if he can't get that Canelo fight next year, which we'll go on to, he's going to move up to 175. But depending on how hard it is for him to make 168, he could, because if the Canelo fight's in September, he might have another fight. He could fight a Morel, he could fight a Charlo, he could fight, you know, someone at 168, you know, just to keep building that resume. Because look, David Benavidez is only getting better and better, and look, that fight has to happen now. Canelo Benavidez, for me, it should happen in May, but if it doesn't, even September, to, you know, build that fight into an even bigger mega fight. But that's going to be one of the biggest fights in boxing. David Benavidez is just, if he beats Canelo, he's going to be the next pay-per-view star. You know, he talks well, looks well, You know, there's talks about, I think, there's talks about him, you know, one day wanting to go to heavyweight, and Larry Merchant, was it Larry Merchant? Sorry, Jim Lampley, sorry, was speaking on one of the channels, and I think it might be Fight Hub TV, and he was saying how, yeah, David Benavidez would love to one day get to heavyweight, you know. So there's just so much to like about David Benavidez. His journey is exciting, and it was the fourth round. He landed a great right hook, kind of like a right hand, but hooked it over and just caught, and that was the beginning of the end for Demetrius Andrade. He dropped Andrade and he couldn't recover. You know, David Benavidez, he broke Andrade down. The body punching was taking its toll on Andrade. And even there was one point in I think it might have been the 6th round, where Andrade was fighting. He was putting it on. He was going at Benavidez, and Benavidez was on the ropes, and he could even, his hand speed's that great that he was even landing combinations on the ropes, on the back foot. So when he had his back against the ropes, basically, and I thought that was beautiful to watch, you know. So for me now, look, Canelo Benavidez, what a fight. Canelo could still be the favourite because look at experience. He's got probably better ring IQ, better defense, probably more power, just as much power. But a lot of people think Benavidez has the style, including myself, and believe he can win. Well, believe he will beat Canelo. A lot of people think he'll beat Canelo. I think it was Sean Porter who was saying absolutely Benavidez has that style. But I just want to say one more thing on Andrade. Sorry. Paulie Malignaggi, prior to the fight, said one thing in his analysis, and he said, I wonder whether Andrade could take a punch, because he'd previously been hit by someone who wasn't a power puncher and he reacted funny. He didn't react well to a right hand. And look, it just kind of is proof in the pudding, right? Look, there was a lot of question marks about Andrade, how good he is or how not so good he is, perhaps, you know, is he overrated? And look, he couldn't take the power of David Benavidez. But back to Canelo Benavidez, look, that's such a super fight, you know. Showtime, well, it won't be on Showtime, but it'll be on the PPC, probably it'll be on Prime, PPC Prime. And for me, what is Canelo? He's smart, he's a smart businessman, but surely if he did this fight 12 to 18 months ago, it would have been better, like Mayweather did with Canelo. Because I don't get it, Benavidez is only getting better and better. But unless Canelo fancies himself and thinks, look, I can beat Benavidez, Benavidez is getting better and better. And if they're going to have and depending on who Benavidez fights next, if the Canelo Benavidez fight happens in September and Benavidez has another fight against someone who, you know, sharpens him up, even if it's not a Andrade Taylor Plant level, but even if it's a Munguia, imagine that, Benavidez be Munguia, something along those lines, still be, you know, someone still in the top 10, it's only going to improve him because he can work on things, you know. So for me, look, that fight has to happen exciting. Who do I have in that fight? I still got to side with Canelo. I think he's got too much experience. I think obviously the hype's behind Benavidez, but I think you saw early on Andrade can land. Taylor Plant and Andrade landed combinations on Benavidez and arguably outboxed him for a few rounds. Both fighters did early on, and I feel like Canelo can do that. But can Benavidez take Canelo's power? Because we know Canelo can take Benavidez's power, because Canelo has one of the best chins of all time. But can Benavidez take Canelo's power? Can he? How will he react to the body shots that Benavidez was landing and Caleb Plant was landing? You know, so there's a lot of things to think about. Look, Canelo's got a good defense. You know, Canelo can fight going backwards and forwards. You know, the biggest problem for Canelo is the pressure of David Benavidez, because Canelo does slow down in later rounds, and you know, Benavidez just gets stronger and stronger. But guys, let me know what you thought of the fight. Do you think Benavidez beats Canelo, and do you think it will happen next year? I don't see how it doesn't now, because unless Canelo retires, but Canelo has to. He's tired. He's in the corner now. Canelo has to fight Benavidez, and do you think that'll be next, or do you think it'll be in September? I feel like I've got a gut feeling it'll be in September. We'll really build it up. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think. Hit the like button. Please share the video. Subscribe. I've hit 600 subs now. I want to get as close as possible to 1K by the end of the year. We've got a busy, stacked schedule in December. So I'm being more active now. I'll be doing a prediction for the Ryan Garcia Durante fight this weekend. I'll be also posting my review on Cameron Taylor 2. What a fight, so keep an eye out for that. But guys, subscribe, and guys, I'll be back with another video.
Talking numbers on the phone while I'm getting brains. Switch 4 lanes, I'm in my own lane. You can catch me